I call the honourable member for Perth.
Thank you. I endorse the comments made by the member for Port Adelaide, and we're currently looking at a range of areas where the Commonwealth seems that the current government appears to be taking out the process where we have independent peer review and assessment made. But if I could just ask the Minister a question, perhaps in relation to where you see the work that is being done on data linkage between the Commonwealth and the state going in the with this medical research fund, because it is absolutely critical that we in fact have in place a mechanism that enables the PBS and the Medicare data to be linked with anonymous identifiers to the hospital records. Without the ability to bring those data sets, the Commonwealth and the state data sets, together, we are actually going to be losing the raw material from which to, in fact, to proceed with much of this medical research. And I just want to take this opportunity to ask the Minister, has she been dealing with this issue? There was a brief period where we did have linkage and we had extraordinary results emerge. Since then, we have had a pullback by the Commonwealth. I understand the Commonwealth has now made some slight forays and said for short-term projects they will allow this data linkage. But if we are serious about medical research, we do need to get these both sets of data together in order to have insight into illness and well-being in Australia. I wonder, Minister, if you give us shed some light on this.
The question is that the amendments be agreed to. I call the honourable Minister for Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the subject matter that the member for Perth has raised is not the subject matter of this bill at all. This is a piece of finance legislation that sets up the Medical Research Future Fund. It's important that we actually get this fund set up. I don't appreciate the delays that Labor has initiated along the way, or Labor's comments about a Senate inquiry and further huff and puff about what we're doing when we all know very clearly what we're doing. The member for Perth talks about data and data linkages, and actually that's a good subject for discussion, and I'm happy to have an offline conversation with her. I make a couple of points, however, in response to her comments, and they are that there is enormous analytical capability around the data that's collected through the MBS and PBS, and we certainly acknowledge that. And I know that the Secretary of my department is very focused on the ability of the Department of Health to correctly and appropriately bring to bear the intelligence around this analysis. So I look forward to a ramping up of that as we go forward. The other point that I would make is that in correcting and replacing Labor's failed e-health record with the Coalition's My Health record, a system that will be opt-out, not opt-in, it will therefore initiate the collection of an enormous amount of data from each and every Australian who, through their personal electronic health record, and I expect that well over 95%, if not higher, of Australians will have this health record. You can, of course, choose to opt out if you wish to. That will provide an enormous amount of data that can be mined appropriately with due privacy considerations at a time that makes sense for medical research. So, as always, I thank members of this parliament who take an interest in medical research, and I would urge the member for Perth to urge her own side to pass this bill through the Senate expeditiously.
The question is that the amendments be agreed to. All in favour, say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The question now is that the bill as amended be agreed to. All those in favour, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The bill as amended has been agreed to. Minister? I call the Minister for Health. Who might seek leave for the third reading?
Madam Speaker, I ask leave of the House to move the third reading immediately.
Is leave granted? I call the member for Port Adelaide. Leave is granted. I call the Minister.
I move that this bill now be read a third time.